The Japanese red maple is my favorite non-fruiting tree. And this one's been growing in our front yard for about 4 or 5 years. The thing is, because it's in the center of our front yard, or I should say it was in the center of our front yard, it was preventing us from taking advantage of about 100 square feet of potential gardening space. And 3 seasons ago, we transformed the other front yard space into garden space. And so today, I'm out here and I'm gonna do the same thing again. I'm gonna take this approximately 100 square feet and add it to our gardening space. I've got some more GreenStalks I wanna set up. Actually, I just wanna play around with this space a little bit and see exactly what we wanna do here. But for now, I need to go through the hard work of removing this sod. I'm gonna till it up. I'm gonna add some of our quail waste to the soil. There's a little bit of compost in here. I'm gonna get all this set up and I hope to be able to show you a finished product. Now, for whatever reason, I've chosen days when it's 90 plus outside to get this done. So it's kind of early morning here, so I can take advantage of some of the coolness, even though it's not really that cool outside. But I'm gonna walk you along with me as I get this process going. So let's get some work done. Well, the hole in the middle here is where I took the tree out of, so you can see what I'm talking about when I say it's right at the center. And the reason the hose is out here is because the ground's a little bit dry, making the sod removal a little tough. So about 30 minutes ago, I came out and I watered this down so the grass had time to dry off at the surface level, but hopefully it'll make the removal here a little bit easier. Now, I know they make far better shovels for this, but I don't have one. So I'm just gonna deal. Do what I've got. That's how I've done all of my garden spaces. Well, wetting this down was definitely a good decision. This is so much easier than when I started. I'm gonna keep this going and I'll check in with you in a little bit. Well, that took me more than a couple of hours, I'll tell you, to get out here and clear all the sod off. You know, one thing I talked about how hot it was when I got started. You'll notice I'm wearing something different. Well, it's actually been a couple of days since I started because we had nothing but torrential rains the last couple of days. But today I finally got all the sod off of here and now I'm digging up the ground. And since this soil has never been used for anything except for grass, you can see what I'm working with here. Just about 2 inches or so. It's kind of heavy, it's all wet. 2 inches or so of topsoil and then this nasty fill soil that's underneath. So I'm gonna turn over the ground here as best I can. I'm gonna come through and till it, and then I'm gonna add a whole bunch of quail waste to this to try to help it out. The other thing I'm noticing as I'm digging this up, obviously I'm getting some big rocks out of here, but that's not the only thing I'm finding in here. I think I've got a whole bunch of concrete or something right here. I got to get all the way to the edge of it to even begin to pull it up. So we'll see what this thing is. Well, here are some of the rocks I got out of there, and then a couple of these big old slabs. I have no idea what they are, but I've got this done. Now I need to do an initial tilling. I'm sure that'll pull up some more rocks that I have to get out of here, and then I'll add my quail waste, the compost there. And then there was more rain. I tell you what, it is a sopping mess here. I've given it all day to try to dry out a little bit so I can get in here and try to till. We'll see what happens, but another evening with pretty bad thunderstorms, and this is a soupy mess. It's really causing me to delay getting this front yard space done. All right, let's see what I can do. Well, I've got this first part tilled, and again, it's just muck here. I'll show you. Well, you can see it right down in here, but if I step my foot down, oh, it's just nasty stuff right now. So I think, unfortunately, I'm gonna let it have to dry out for another day before I put it in the quail waste, and then I may make tilling a little bit easier. And then I'm gonna set up my couple of beds in here. Well, we've had 2 straight days of no rain, but it's still kind of a mess in here, especially in the area that's a little bit lower in terms of elevation. You can see where the water is going to run in this garden. And that's good to note just in general, but I'm going to go ahead and get out here and add that quail waste. Now, it's composted quail waste that we've had in these containers for 8 or 10 months. And so it's starting to compost down. It's not as wet as a lot of the other compost here, but once it gets mixed in with that soil, we'll be in good shape. Look at how well the quail waste at the bottom is really decomposing. That's what you want to see. All right, I've got a nice little barrier here for the bottom area, and then you can see I've tilled this up to a point where I have 2 larger beds, and that's how I'm going to lay this one out. I'm going to have 1 bed here, 1 bed here, and I'm going to wrap this with terrace board and finish the outline. And then we're going to put some mulch, some natural mulch around the other areas, and I think I should be able to put another GreenStalk here, another GreenStalk here, and we'll see if we do anything else with that. I think this is going to be a great space. Now, if you're looking for a simple and pretty inexpensive way to make a small raised bed, you get some of this 4 or even 5-inch terrace board. We got this from Menards, but get it out here, find your starting spot, and I like to keep it around the corner just a little bit where I start. But here's all you have to do to assemble something like this. I'm going to keep it around the corner a little bit, so not right in the middle of the edge here. So just around the corner a little bit, pick my spot, put this down into the ground, just like so. Get the outline here. Again, really simple process. The one thing you do need to make sure you have enough of these garden or yard spikes. They're a couple dollars extra beyond. And I'll get this all buried the way I want it to as well. Just like so. Well, I've used this terrace board for so many different projects. It's just a nice and inexpensive method here. And again, I'll get this buried, but once I get the rest of the spikes in, I'll have 2 beds just like this. Well, I think this is coming along really nicely. Now you can see this is not an exact science. These beds are not exactly the same, but they're looking pretty nice. Or at least in my opinion, this is looking really nice. Now you might be wondering, why not just make this entire thing a garden? Well, first of all, I know the drainage isn't great here, and that's something that might improve over time. But if I'm just in ground, if I'm just flat on the ground here, the drainage is going to be a little bit harder, and I'm worried about what that might do to the crops here. And I can always remove this very simply and adjust it in the future. For now, to give myself walkways and easy access, I'm going to be putting the mulch around the exterior here. And because of the way I've set it up, in each of the corners here, I can have that additional vertical garden. So it'll look pretty nice too, in my opinion, because I got the DIY vertical garden here. I've got 1 GreenStalk here, and I've got a couple other GreenStalks to go in the front. So it'll be kind of a 4-pillar part plus these 2 beds. And I think the end result's going to look really nice. So next, what I got to do is line the outside with the rest of my bricks, and then go ahead, add the mulch, and then we'll lay out those other vertical gardens. How cool does this look? And the next step really is going to be transformative when I put down this mulch. So I'm going to let you watch me put down some of this mulch. It's going to be awesome. This space is almost where I want it to be. The mulch I'm using is premium cedar mulch. It's organic, and this is what we've been using for years in our front garden space. And I just gonna lay it out like so. Look at that color. And this stuff is about $4 a bag, which is actually pretty comparable, I found, to that, you know, black or red mulch or whatever, the stuff that's really died. And so, you know, $4 for something that's organic, we'll take it. And on top of everything else, now my car smells absolutely amazing. If you like this smell, and I really, really like the smell of this particular mulch. So I drive around for a couple days with a couple bags in here in the car. All right, let me finish this up and I'll show you what it looks like before the very last step I want to do today. Well, what do you think? Everything is spread out. I just love this new spot in our front garden, our front yard garden. Now, as I said, the last step that I have to prepare for is just creating a couple of brick spaces here, right here, and right here. And what I mean by that is some brick bases to make it nice and level so we can put 2 more GreenStalks out here. And then we get everything planted. But I'm not actually going to show that in this video. When I do another garden tour in the near future, you'll see that whole setup. You'll see what I ended up planting here, etc. It feels good to finally have this project done. Again, there's a lot of labor that goes into something like this, but now that I've done it, the upkeep is not that bad, certainly year over year from what we've experienced in our other front garden space. And I've added some additional growing space. Again, with the GreenStalks, that adds quite a bit even in this small area, but these 2 beds, we're gonna be able to grow some good food in here. And now we're taking advantage of even more of what used to be just a lawn. So yes, I am gonna miss having the red maple here. I love that tree. I've moved it to a container. It's gonna do its own thing here, but I'm not gonna miss out anymore on the potential food that I'm growing in this front garden space. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe you've got a little space in your yard somewhere, front or back, that you can transform into a garden. And if you can, I hope this video encourages you to do just that. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.